This is the narrated version of Chapter 4, Forensic Psychology, Forensic Psychiatry, and Criminal Profiling. Forensic Psychology and Psychiatry. Forensic psychology and psychiatry involve the application of the behavioral sciences to legal questions. Common psychological questions that forensic mental health professionals answer involve: number 1, risk for future sexual offense recidivism; number 2, competency to stand trial; and number 3, criminal responsibility, sanity at the time of the offense. Forensic psychiatry. A forensic psychiatrist is a physician who specializes in psychiatry after completing medical school with board certification in forensic psychiatry, who for court purposes regularly evaluates and diagnoses patients with physical and mental illnesses. They can evaluate patients, diagnose illnesses, and prescribe medications. Forensic psychology. A forensic psychology is typically a person with at least a PhD level education in psychology with board certification in forensic psychology who regularly performs and interprets psychological measures and evaluates and diagnoses patients with mental illnesses for court purposes. Insanity and competency to stand trial. Competency to stand trial relates to defendant's current ability to understand his or her legal predicament, e.g., charges and possible outcomes, and to assist an attorney with his or her defense. Insanity, criminal responsibility, refers to the defendant's mental state at the time of the offense. Generally, a person needs to be able, at the time of the crime, to understand that what he or she was doing was against the law. The insanity defense is rarely used and even more rarely succeeds. When it does result in an acquittal, the individual is usually committed to a secure mental health facility. Individuals who successfully plead insanity are usually hospitalized for much longer than they would have been incarcerated if they had pleaded or been convicted at trial. Case examples: Andrea Yates. In 2001, she drowned her 5 children, believed her children would suffer in hell. Convicted of capital murder and sentenced to life in prison. An appeal overturned her conviction in 2005. After a retrial in 2006, Yates was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 victims between 1978 and 1991. His modus operandi was to invite homosexual men and boys to his apartment and drug them. When they were incapacitated, he would strangle them. He reported having sex with bodies and eating body parts. Dahmer pled guilty, but insane. He was found guilty in 1992 and sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms. O.C. Smith. Dr. O.C. Smith is a well-known physician, left work one evening in 2002 and was found tied with barbed wire to a window gate with an explosive device around his neck. He had chemical burns to part of his face from a caustic material allegedly thrown in his face. His story was doubted due to his lack of injuries suffered. The prosecution testified to the existence of fictitious disorder. The jury could not reach a verdict, mistrial. Forensic psychologists and psychiatrists and profilers. Forensic psychologists and psychiatrists have a unique understanding of and training in mental processes, physiology, thinking, human behavior, and psychopathology. Because of this, forensic mental health professionals can be well positioned to acquire further education related to investigations and the forensic sciences, allowing them to review available evidence and to offer a criminal profile. Psychological pitfalls and the profiler. There are issues or problems that profilers must be aware of and make efforts to minimize their effects on the work product. Bias, transference, which is a psychoanalytical term for the phenomena that occurs when a patient relates to a therapist in a manner that mimics other relationships from the patient's past. Projection, which is a psychoanalytical term for ascribing to others the thoughts, feelings, or motives of oneself. This concludes this narrated PowerPoint.